He has spoken on our ACN stage to thousands globally. He has a phenomenal people in his organization that he's trained and coached to top positions in our company, to the point where they themselves have been recognized by the co-founders personally. And they themselves have walked this same stage that he's spoken on. He explains things that seems complicated to us and breaks things down where simple steps where it's feasible, where it looks like we can just take action. It's actually easier than what we think it is, just to grow our business. Along with Mr. Thomas, the co-founders have asked him to be a part of an elite group to advise present and future business owners. He meets you where you're at. That part I love, and is willing to help anyone looking to grow their business. He's one of Mr. Thomas's favorite trainers, and we appreciate him coming back onto this platform to pour into us. Mr. RVP Dean Tarrolly.
Thank you for the introduction, my friend. I appreciate it. I'm definitely looking forward to spending a few minutes with you guys today, going over some information that I think and hope will be important, help you guys advance your business, like we like to say on this call. And obviously appreciate you hosting the call, man. I know that you are stepping in and stepping up. And by the way, that could be a whole training in and of itself, is how in our business, if we build it really properly, that there's going to be opportunities for all of us to step in and step up and kind of like move and advance our businesses forward. And really that only happens by taking on some responsibility, maybe a little more than we have in the past. And that doesn't mean full-time, that means part-time, but it does in fact mean that there's a little more to be, what's the old saying? To whom much is given, much is required, right? So that's okay. But the greatest thing about ACN, and part of the thing I'm going to talk about today, is our ability to be able to do that part-time. So I appreciate you hosting, appreciate you stepping in, Harrison. Obviously, just like last week, well done, great job. And I know that Mr. Thomas and the team appreciate it as well. So excellent. You guys, as I do, preparing for this call with you all, I definitely have some thoughts from last week to this week, and we're going to cover them. So here we go. One of the things that you hear us talk about, you hear leaders talk about, you certainly hear Mr. Thomas talk about, is the word consistency, right? Being consistent. And so I got to thinking about that as I was preparing my notes this morning for you guys. And I really started to think about this, because we hear it a lot. You guys agree? Like, we hear it a lot. You got to be consistent. You got to work consistently. You got to have kind of consistent effort. Like we hear it, and it almost becomes, we almost become immune to what that word really means and what it really means in ACN. So I'm going to break this down a little bit and see if something catches your attention. So first thing in my notes is, what does it really mean to be consistent? So we can talk about, acquiring customers, building a team, teaching people, doing all that stuff. But then I tried to take it one step further, or I should say, I went a step backwards to try to find the root of it. I think Dr. Diedrich is in the waiting room. So here's what I came up with. What does it really mean to be consistent? And here's what I want you guys to write down. Okay. To me, being consistent, the core of being consistent comes down to a couple things. You have to go back to go forward. Being consistent, attitude, and action. Attitude and action. Okay. So sounds really simple, right? For you to win in ACN or any business, one of my business partners who has a very successful traditional business just jumped on and I had a great conversation with this gentleman yesterday. And one of the things that we talked about is how people they can have, or they can lack consistency. But consistency doesn't just mean going through the motions. When I break it down, going back further, being consistent in attitude and being consistent in action. So now there's a whole other question that comes up. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Which comes first, a good attitude to take the right actions, or the right action and then you have the good attitude? So let's talk about that for a second. Because here's where a lot of people, I think they can get stuck in their ACN business and they never get to one side or the other. Because y'all agree with the opportunity that we have in ACN, it is easy to think about, imagine, formulate, and dream about what this opportunity can do. Yes or no? Is it just me, or is that all of us? Yes or no? Yeah, I think it's everyone. Nobody signed up in you guys. Nobody signed up in ACN to make $200. That's not why anybody signs up in ACN. Nobody signs up in ACN to make $200. Everybody signs up in ACN to build something significant. People sign up in ACN for life-changing, freedom-providing financial opportunity that allows them to design and create a life that they want. Okay? So we got to go back. How does that happen? It happens by being consistent. What do you have to do to be consistent? What are the core elements? It's your attitude and your action. So we got to discuss which one comes first. See, on some days, it's going to be your attitude that comes first. Maybe you got nothing on the books. You don't have any customer meetings. You don't have any presentations set up. You don't have any follow-ups. Like, you guys, who has had a day where it feels like the well has run dry and you do not have anything on the books? Besides me, who's ever had that happen at one point or another? Yeah, just be honest about it. So some days it's going to be the attitude first, right? You're looking at your calendar, like, how did this happen? I have a completely open day. Okay, well, guess what? Your attitude is going to determine whether or not you do something that day. And not only that, it's going to determine not only if you do something, what you're going to do. And here's the best part, how you're going to do it, right? How you're going to do it. Because the how to, man, that's it. That's so much of this is how are you going to attack what it is that you're going to do? So your attitude is in place. Now it leads to action. But here's what happens on other days. Let's say, by the way, so I know I would say to Mr. Thomas, permission to speak freely, and he would say, please do. So I'm going to say this, right? On some days, who agrees that we have a crap attitude? It's like, it's not going well. The job, the wife, the husband, the kids, the this, the job, the business I own, the boss I have, all those different things, right? Right. And attitude, the attitude is tough. And it could be environmental. It could just be your circumstances, but the attitude is tough. You had a tough client meeting. Attitude is tough. Well, guess what you have to do? On those days, it is your action that's going to lead to your attitude. On those days, it's going to be like, look, you guys, the gym cliches get so overused, but they're so appropriate because guess what? If you feel like going to work out and you work out and you have a great workout, great. If you don't feel like going to the gym and working out, you stick to the commitment that you made. And I guarantee you 1000% you will feel better than you walked into the gym. You'll feel better walking out. Why? Because you saw through what you said you were going to do and you took action, which impacted your attitude. And now everything changes. And then you look back and you go, well, God, all I need to do is take a little bit of action every day. My attitude by default is going to be good. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to feel accomplished. You're going to feel more confident. You're going to have something going on. And isn't it true that all businesses' life responds to people that have stuff going on? Yes or no? That's a conversation that we've had, you guys, I've had with you for 4 years about being on the sidelines or being on the field, right? Nobody gets on the field and pays to watch the people in the stands. Nobody goes on the field and pays money to watch the people in the stands. Because what are they doing? They're watching. But the people in the stands will pay big freaking money to watch the people on the field. Or how about this? They'll pay big freaking money to watch the person on the stage. You guys realize, like right now, okay? Who are some of the biggest names? Taylor Swift, maybe the biggest name in entertainment right now. You guys, she's selling out so far. People are paying big money to watch her perform. They are paying big money to watch her produce, right? Yes or no, you guys? So the question is this. I want you to think about this. Please get this point. Do you think that whole production that she has, do you think they're winging it? Do you think they're just taking a shot at it? Put the lights over there. It doesn't really matter. You throw some lights over there. Yeah, it's good. Well, how does it sound? Sounds okay. No, they don't do that at all. The attitude that they have going in is expecting excellence. That is an attitude conversation. So, what are the expectations that you have of this? Are you expecting excellence? Are you expecting mediocrity? Are you expecting just to get by? Are you like, oh man, I finally got a rep. Now look, hang on a minute. If you haven't had anything happening for a long time and you break through and you have a new person join the team, listen, let's celebrate that because you were consistent. But you guys act like you've been there before, right? Like this is what we do. Right. I had a conversation with this gentleman yesterday, and it's like, look, man, let's just do not, if you do what is required and you take actionable and you line up actionable tasks, do not be surprised when you get promoted and paid. Well, you guys, that was the plan all along. But I will tell you this, the secret to the success in our business is your willingness and voluntary participation in being consistent, doing something every day. And some days it's going to be your attitude that leads you to action. And some days it is going to be your action that leads you to attitude. Does that make sense, everybody, so far? Yes or no? I see you, man. You're the best. The best. So let's talk about this. And this is going to be important. I hope you get it. Is it worth being consistent here in ACN? Is it worth it? So let's talk about that for a second. If you have a brick and mortar business, do you have a choice as to whether or not to be there? Yes or no? All right, you guys, I'm not moving forward until I see somebody either nod their head or shake their head. If you have a brick and mortar business, do you have a choice to be there? Yes or no? No, you do not. You have to be there. You are the first one there. You are the last one to leave. And you got to make sure everybody gets paid before you do. You got to make sure all your suppliers get paid. You got to make sure all of your contacts get paid. You have to make sure that business, you are the first one there and you're the last one to leave. So the fact of the matter is, being consistent, you don't have a choice if you're the owner. Is that true? I don't feel like, you know what? How about this? Listen up. I'm just not feeling it today. I had that tough customer yesterday, just not feeling it today. Closed. You would never do that. You are open for business. You do not have a choice. You have to be consistent. I'm like, cool. That's if you're an owner. How about for those of us for years and years and years being an employee? I was employed at the barn. I was employed in the golf business. Okay. So if you own a job, do you have a choice? Yes or no? You absolutely do not have a choice. Guess what the boss doesn't care about? Guess what the boss doesn't care about? You had a tough day, your attitude, right? It's action. You get in there and I'm paying you. Like you are expected to show up. You are expected to be present. You are expected to perform. You are expected to accomplish the goals and the duties with which you have been assigned to do the job to earn the compensation that I am paying you. Do you have a choice? Yes or no? You do not. No. People go, well, that's not true. If I don't want to be there, I'm just going to be there. Great. You'll be out of a job. Yes or no? So it's the truth. I don't care what anybody says. It's the truth. People can say that. Man, nobody's talking to me that way. Hang on. I'm not talking about how people are talking to you. I'm saying, what is the expectation? If you are a business owner, you have no choice. You are there first and you are there last, and you got to make sure everything is taken care of before you get paid. That is just a stone cold fact. So you have to be consistent. And if you have a job, you have to be consistent. And obviously, if you are one of the 5%, the super, super, super lucky people that found their calling in their work and it's their job, you would want to be there. But but you do not have a choice unless you go find another job. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes or no? This is so important to understand. Okay, perfect. Well, here comes the next part. In ACN, do you have a choice? Absolutely, you do. You do not have a choice when you own a traditional business, and you do not have a choice when you have a job. You do not. But when you have your ACN business, you have a choice. And you know how often you have a choice? Every damn day. You have a choice every minute. You can choose to take action or not. You can choose the attitude that you have to move your business forward. So that choice is a blessing and a curse. It is a liability and it is an asset. And guess who gets to determine whether or not the choice is a liability or an asset? Guess who determines that? You do. You do. Yes, sir. You do. You do. Buddy Lee just pointed himself. Jelani Dorsey just pointed himself. Dwight just like, you guys, you have the choice. Well, let's talk about that for a second. Listen, how valuable is it to you to have the power and the control to make your own choices and design your day? How valuable is that? Right? So one of the old quotes was, if you don't have something planned for you, don't worry, someone else will have something planned for you. Right? And now you fall into their plan. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm saying that there is, in fact, a lack of freedom there, and freedom is not free. There is a price to pay. But what do we have to do? Okay, what do we have to do? I want you to think about the market you live in, and we're going to talk about this for a second. Okay. You have no choice being a traditional brick and mortar business owner, and you have no choice. Actually, you have no choice being an information technology work from home business owner. If you are a business owner, it starts and ends with you. If you have a job with a boss who is cutting your check, right, you have no choice. But here, you do have a choice. So what is the danger? The very freedoms that we get in ACN to be able to work when we want, with we want, how long as we want, with whom we want, where we want, the freedoms that we get with that come at a price. And what is that price? That price is, are you consistent in your activities? Are you doing things on a consistent basis to exercise the choice that you have been given to do with this what you will? So I'm going to give you a great example in terms of like the nuts and bolts in ACN, right? One of the things that provides a choice is a system. So when you have a system that is a plug and play, pique someone's interest, get them on the phone with the leader that you're working with. Let that leader go to work with, by, and for you, right? If you can do that consistently, you are making a choice to take action. Your business over the course of time will have no option but to grow. Watch this. So you guys, I got all these plants around here, right? Like in our front yard. Here's what I know. Watch this. If you have a seed and good soil and water and sun, what's going to happen? It's going to grow. Now, do you have to take care of it? You do have to take care of it, because otherwise it'll go crazy, but you have to tend to it. But those are the core elements. So in our business, for example, you have an opportunity with the company. You have a solid track record with the company. You have local leadership in your marketplace. Now, let me talk about that for a hot second, right? Let me talk about that for a hot second. When you have local leadership in your marketplace, when you have local leadership that is there, it is so incredibly, unbelievably important for you to have a level of trust in the local leadership that you have, that they are going to come through for you. In fact, I would tell you that in all kinds of different areas, right? All kinds of areas. And the most exciting things happen when you give up a little control to the person that has experience, that has your best interests at heart, that wants to win for you. When you give up that little bit of control and you allow the leader to do what they are there to do, watch what happens to your business. Now, the question is, can you do that consistently? Consistently, can you put people in the best place, the best environment, the best opportunity for you to expand and grow your business? Well, the way to do that, at a Zoom meeting or a home meeting, or maybe at your weekly briefing, right? When you get your prospect or person in front of the information and you let the leader move them into action, do you guys understand that the leader will be able to create production, whether it's customer production, maybe they join the team, maybe it's just getting them to another event. But if you start to do that consistently, you're going to be like, oh man, we had 4 meetings this week. I have 3 guests coming to Saturday training. I have a team coming to our Friday leadership, and I have guests coming to Saturday training. Now you're anticipating Saturday training. And what starts to happen? People start to see that you are consistently plugging into the system that is designed to make your business part-time and get you the best results. It cannot happen if you're not consistent, right? The analogy that I always like to use with being consistent is the microwave, right? Look, the microwave is consistent, right? You take a bag of popcorn, and that bag of popcorn needs to go into the microwave for 3 minutes. It says 3 minutes. It says it right on the bag. Set on high for 3 minutes. Don't puncture the bag. That's it. By the way, how are those instructions? Put the bag of popcorn in the microwave. Don't puncture the bag. Set it for 3 minutes. And guess what freaking people do? They put it in for a minute. They're starving. They pull the bag out. The bag is hot. It burns their hands. Why? Because they don't listen. They don't listen. They don't trust. So they pull the bag out. They burn their hand. But how much popcorn is popped? None. Okay, let me go back and read it. And they put it back in and set it for 3 minutes, and they pull it out after 2 minutes. How many popcorn kernels have popped? Absolutely none. 0. And they burn their hand again, and now they're getting frustrated, and now they're hungry, and they think the thing doesn't work. Oh, it's the microwave's fault. It's the popcorn's fault. I bet it's a bad bag, right? All this crazy stuff. And then they go, well, let me go back and read it again. Takes time, effort, energy. And now you're doing it again. And this time, what happens? What happens, new rep? What happens, person who has a home meeting and has guests there? What happens? You trust the system. You trust the instructions. You trust your leader, and you do that consistently. Guess what? You put the bag in for 3 minutes. Minute number 1, no kernels have popped. Getting a little frustrated. Minute number 2, no kernels have popped. And now you're like hungry, and now you're like kind of cursing the microwave and everything else again. But you said, this time I'm going to do the system and follow what they said to do. And it gets to about 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And you're like, this is BS. This doesn't work. I'm wasting my time. Man, my job looks really good right now. This entrepreneurial stuff, this doing this ACN thing, this doesn't, right? But you stay consistent, and you have a level of trust in the leader that you're working with. And by about 2 minutes and 50 seconds, you start to hear it. And what happens in the 3rd minute? It's a freaking explosion. Your bag is completely popped. All the popcorn is in there, but you had to discipline yourself, and you had to be consistent. Now, here's the message. Did the microwave, you guys, are y'all with me right now? Because you got to get this message. Here goes. Did the microwave work any harder in the 1st minute? The 1st second? Did it work any harder in the 1st second? Or the 180th second? Did it work any harder? Yes or no? Yes or no? Who wants to take a shot? No, it did not. It was consistent. It was consistent for 180 seconds. And you had to go through the 1st minute, you had to go through the 2nd minute, and you had to go to the 3rd minute. And at the end of the 3rd minute, bam. That is our business. You're welcome, Charles. No problem. That is our business. If you can stay consistent, regardless of what comes first, if you have a great attitude, you got to take action. If your attitude's kind of down, you got to take action. Your attitude is going to change. And you will be attractive to people. You will be attractive, and people are going to want to know what is going on with you. Man, they may not even know what's going on with you. That's what we have people join the teams like, man, I don't really understand this whole thing. I mean, getting paid on bills, that sounds great, but I kind of like you guys. Yeah, I want to learn more. Like, this is a cool group. So you guys, there is magic in being consistent. There is absolute magic in being consistent, and it gives you the best chance. And now you're operating the way any entrepreneur, any business person would operate, which is to be in the game and the exercise of the law of large numbers. And when you play in the law of large numbers, really great things can happen. When you play in the law of large numbers, now you have the best chance to have something really significant happen for you. When you look, you guys, I'm letting you know that I'm letting you know that you have a massive opportunity to be someone special for someone special. We all have that opportunity. We have that opportunity to be someone special for someone special, right? What you do, how you care, the willingness, right, to be there for a person, man, that's everything. Well, then you throw it into an entrepreneurial environment where the majority of them don't work. The majority of them don't. And it's not that the opportunities don't work, it's that the people don't work. Why? Because they're not willing to be consistent. Why? Because there is no ramifications if they're not. They don't see that. You can lose a traditional business if you're not consistent, and you can absolutely get fired from your job if you are not consistent. But here, if you are not consistent, you don't lose anything, right? Nothing is taken away from you. However, for the entrepreneurial person, they would say, if I'm not consistent, I've lost everything because of the opportunity lost, right? And the old saying is what? Is opportunities are never lost. They're never lost, ever. Opportunities are never lost. They're just taken by someone else. So that, you guys, to me, that's probably a good point to end. Do not let the opportunity go to someone. Listen, do not let this opportunity go to someone that you know brought by someone else. Someone that you know will join your business and join your team because you are being consistent and your attitude and your actions are aligned. So if you're having a good attitude day, take some action. If you're not having a great attitude day, take some action and watch what happens to your attitude. And you will be a magnet and you will be attractive to the people that you want to share this with. So that's what I got, my friend. I hope that was helpful. I hope that gives you guys something to do today and just to apply so you guys can go out and build something significant. I know I have meetings today. I got stuff set up through the end of the week, all the way through the weekend, and we are building into Cleveland. And for those of you who want the information, I know a number of you are coming to our Lake Tahoe leadership. We've got people from our Lubbock team coming to Lake Tahoe. We've got people from other teams coming to Lake Tahoe. We got people obviously from Southern California coming to Lake Tahoe. I know Mr. Randolph's coming to Lake Tahoe. You guys, it is going to be amazing. It's myself, Tony Kupis, co-founder of ACN, and the person who broke every record in our company, Mike Basutti. And we do this twice a year. And our next one is going to be in a month from now in South Lake Tahoe. And it is an amazing, amazing, amazing 72 hours that we are together. So what I'll do is this. Let me just, I'll throw this in the chat. So if anybody, if I can put it in the chat, hang on a minute. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Sorry, hang on. Thought I was better at this than maybe I am. Okay, cool. I'm going to put my email address here. So anybody that wants the information about the Tahoe leadership, please email me because we are wrapping up registrations on this, but I want to make sure that you guys have that opportunity. So it's my first initial last name at gmail.com. I cannot encourage you enough. You're going to meet people for the first time that you've seen on this call. And it's going to be awesome. So anyway, enough being said, I hope that was helpful. I hope the message of consistency between attitude and action, I hope that struck a chord with some of you, and that you can apply that today. Like, you literally can apply it today. Check your attitude, take some action. If the attitude's out of whack, take some action. Watch what happens to your attitude. You do that consistently. Someone on this call is going to have new business partners by this time next week, and we'll hear about that. So you got it, Jelani, for sure. I'm going to turn this back over to you, my friend. Thank you for the
Awesome.
opportunity to spend a few minutes with you guys today.